We're here at the University of Miami campus in Coral Gables with Pilar Rodriguez. She's the lead instructor for the Human Resource Management Certificate Program being offered here under the Division of Continuing and International Education. Welcome, Pilar, and thank you for taking the time to share with us some information today about two very important areas in the human resource industry, which is training and development and strategic management. First of all, we would like for you to just talk to us a little bit about what you do as lead instructor for this program, which is a human resource management program, and a little bit about yourself as a professional in this industry.
Well, once again, thank you so much for having me here. My name, once again, is Pilar Rodriguez, and I'm the lead instructor for the Human Resources Certification Program here at UM, University of Miami. Basically, one of our goals in creating this role as a lead instructor is to make sure that we have a balanced and a cohesive approach with the curriculum that we teach here at the University of Miami. We want to make sure that we work together, the faculty and the overall organization here in the University of Miami, and create the best curriculum that we can have in the market. Right now, I'm the VP of HR for Latin America Private Bank for HSBC Bank.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. We want to start talk about training and development. How do you define training and development?
Well, that's a very good question. Training, I would say, that is the discipline that focus on providing the skills and the tools to employees in an organization to develop in their career. Development, I would say, that goes beyond the training. Training could be seen as a vehicle, a tool that we use for development. Development is more broader than what is training, per se.
Okay. Why is it important for achieving business objectives, this training and development?
Well, training and development you can see as part of the whole overall human resources field. When an employee joins a company, it is very important that they see that they have tools to develop their careers. Sometimes business leaders see training and development as a cost, and they don't understand what is the real meaning of having a training and development organization. And I think it's very important for the human resources team to make sure that you sell the idea that is important in terms of providing the tools and the skills to develop the objectives and achieve the objectives in the company.
Okay, great. And is this type of skill set being provided within the human resource management program that you work with at UM?
Absolutely. One of the things that we have as in the training and development class is to make sure that we equip our students to make sure that they have all the tools and the skills to be able to promote that discipline in the market and in the place at work.
Okay. We always hear about job security and career security. Is it the same thing?
Well, people tend to see job security in a different way and career security. And there's a little difference between job security and career security. Job is basically what you're doing now. What is your career is basically the career security. And one of the things that we stressed a lot in our classes is to make sure that as HR professionals, we teach and we instruct our employees out there and the corporations that we work, that job security is what you're doing right now and career security is what you're looking for the future. What are the things that you want to do in life? How do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you see developing as a professional? Are you really in the field that you want to be? So job security is something short term, I would say, and career security is something more in the long term.
Okay. All right. So the security that one may seek, what is being encouraged in today's economy? Job security or career security?
I believe it is both, but the tendency and the human resources trend right now in researches that we're doing in the field is that people are looking for the long term. People are looking for career opportunities. You might be frustrated, and the worst thing that you can have as an organization is employees frustrated with the job that you're doing at that moment. So it is very important, it is critical for the human resources professional to make sure that they help the organization, they help the employees see the difference with that. It's absolutely necessary that you have your team and the team that you work with engage at all times and make sure that they understand what is the place within the organization.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about organizational development. What exactly is it? And how it differentiates from training and development?
Yeah. Training and development is one thing, and organizational development is something else. And it goes beyond what it is to just develop skills. Organizational development could be defined as is the discipline that provides an organization and changing the structure, changing the processes. So it goes beyond the training per se. It's basically you as an HR professional or in charge of OD, what they call OD, is to make sure that you help the organization see how it is right now and where do you want to go and how do you see yourself in the future. So it is a fascinating discipline. It's a fascinating topic because it's really where you see a lot of the things that HR can do for an organization. It helps the company, it helps the employees, it helps teams to see how am I doing things? What are the things that I'm doing? Where can I build efficiencies? What are the things that I can do better? So that's basically the difference between OD. OD uses training as a vehicle, once again, as part of the development, as part of developing the organization.
Okay. Can organizational development be assessed?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like training. And a good example, and this is something that we talk in the class, in the module for the training and development that we have here in UM, is very important that the individuals, everything that we do in HR has to be measured. Because otherwise, the business leaders, they're going to say, why do we have training? Why do we have HR? Why do we have this team spending money? So under no circumstances we can have an organization, an HR team, spending money in the eyes of the business leaders and not measuring what we bring to the table. So it is critical, and that's something that we really emphasize in our modules and in the overall program of HR, is that we want to make sure that all the students, when they join us, they know that one critical element in every single module is why are we doing things and how can we measure the advantages of having an HR team in place. For example, in the OD case, we can measure how can an organization, an operations team can improve efficiency, or a customer service team can improve the answering the phones, etc. So we can measure that, and we have to be in the table with the business leaders and making sure that we help them measure those efficiencies.
Okay. We would like to know, what is a learning organization?
Okay, a learning organization, that is something, a topic that we've been talking for many years. For many organizations, corporate America, Fortune 500 companies, it has been very important. And I want to tell you why. I would define a learning organization, one, a company that focus and believe on the importance of learning, the importance and the impact in the overall achieving of business objectives. We have many ways of doing this. Sometimes it's a very, very challenging situation because, as I said before, sometimes it's very hard for business leaders to understand what is really the focus of training and development, organizational development, and what is really the value that we bring to the table. So it is critical as human resources professionals that we understand who we are, what can we do for the business, and then we sell that idea. And that's part of being a learning organization, is the idea of continually improving the skills and the capabilities of an organization. And I think is critical because that gives you a place on the table and in the boardroom, like they say, with the business leaders and with the top senior management of the organizations and companies.
Okay. What are some of the factors that influence training and development?
Well, some of the factors and some of the challenges that we have in the training and development or learning organization are, I would start with the buy-in from senior management. There's many things, various factors. For example, technology is one, matrix and the complexity of an organization, the HR function per se, the buy-in of senior management. And then let me give you a little bit more details on each one. Obtaining the buy-in, and when we say getting the buy-in from the business leaders is critical. And why is that? If you want to launch a program, if you want to help the organization achieve X objectives from a strategic point of view, you need to make sure that you have the agreement and the support of senior management. Otherwise, those individuals won't be able to be convinced what is the value added of that particular program. Technology is something that has been impacting learning and development tremendously, as we all know. We used to be 30 years ago, 20 years ago, instructor-led. Technology has helped us tremendously in achieving different ways and different avenues in reaching people and how we do things and how we learn. So that is something that we stressed a lot here at the University of Miami, and something that we really want to focus on our HR professionals to learn the many ways, the many things that we can do with the training and development arena. Another factor would be the HR function per se. As you know, we have different areas in HR. We have the staffing area, we have the specialist areas, and we have the generalist individuals, the HR generalists. So who are they, and what role do they play in the overall picture of achieving a learning organization and achieving the organizational development? So it's critical that we, as a team in HR, we work together and we really focus on selling those things. And another very important factor is how complex the organization is. As you will know probably, and you have had those experiences where you work, more and more you see that corporate America is matrix. Sometimes you work with people from UK, sometimes you work with people from another state in besides Florida, for example. So we more and more we see that the environment, the corporate environment, is more global. So how do you work? How do you get things done when you have to deal with people in Brazil and Mexico and Hong Kong, etc.? So all those factors influence the training and development and the overall picture of your organization.
Okay. A lot of what you've been talking about requires a lot of tools and techniques, which makes it very practical. It's very hands-on. How is that incorporated within the program in which you are the lead instructor for?
Oh, good. That is something that we really focus a lot here in University of Miami within the program. And our director, our program coordinator, and all the faculty, we focus always on making sure that the experience at the university, the experience with the program is hands-on. I truly believe, and I strongly believe that we have adults coming to our programs. We have a very hectic schedule, we know, and we are very demanding with our curriculum, and we know that to a certain point it's a sacrifice for a lot of us to be part of this learning experience. So we want to make sure that we make it fun, that we make it disciplined, that we're very rigorous with our curriculum, and we're always in the faculty, and that's something that I'm very engaged with as a lead instructor, is to make sure that we have the latest, that we have the latest in the market, and what is human resources and how is the field defined. And but it needs to be fun, like I said before. It needs to be hands-on. It needs to be with case studies. It has a lot of exercises, and that's something that we use a lot in the program, is the case study. Since the day one that you start until the day of graduation, you are working with a team, with an Intech team, and you're also working in a case study, which we call the People Banks of Miami. And it's very interesting. It's fascinating the way we do this, because we take you, the student, we take the students through a roadmap. And then you go through the strategic management class, then you go to another module. So you see the whole picture at the end of the road, at the end of the program. So it's just getting a little piece of the pie whenever you take another module, and making sure that you are hands-on in all the disciplines of HR.
Okay. And as far as training and development is concerned, the individuals will learn a lot of realistic examples and experiences that a human resource professional experience outside in the real industry. What differentiates that particular module, that particular instructor, from other instructors in other programs?
Okay, that is something that, as I said before, we at University of Miami, we're very careful in who do we have as part of our faculty. We have our faculty has a lot of experience, many years, and they are proven professionals in their field. We have the individual, the professor that teaches employment law and labor is Professor Knox, that has many years and is a lawyer, is an attorney. Dr. Nadine is an expert in the field of training and development. Marcus March, Professor March, is a leader in the industry, also working at Jackson Memorial, and is in charge, responsible for all the recruitment and selection. So as I said, we are very careful in who we have and how do we build the curriculum here at UN. We want to make sure, and as I said before, that is an enjoyable experience, that is something disciplined, is very structured. We want to make sure that you have all the tools, that when you leave the classroom, you say, wow, what an experience I got at University of Miami. It gives you my tools, it gives me the tools to go out there and be an HR professional. So that's basically one of our main objectives.
Okay, great. As far as training and development and the idea that business leaders may have about training and development, or the understanding of the role of training and development, they need to know why it is important. They need to know that it does have value and that they can measure it, because that is sometimes a concern. How do you measure training effectiveness so that business leaders know that it's occurring?
That for me is one of the most critical aspects in HR. And once again, as I mentioned before, is how do we measure what we do? Everything in life, I believe, and I always say this, everything is proving the value added that you have. So you have to be very specific with business leaders and the people out there in your organization to make sure that they understand what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. And what is the benefit? What is in it for me? The typical phrase that we hear. So we need to basically sell the idea to the business leaders that this is the right thing to do. In HR, if we want to be technical about it, we have 4 different ways of measuring. You have what they call the SMILE sheet, which is the first reaction. Okay, you go to a training, and at the end of the course, typically, and probably you all know this, you've been through this, is this a piece of paper where you say you like it, how you like the room, how you like the trainer, etc., etc. So that's the first step. Second step is the learning, is how do we measure learning? So we do this in a pre-test and a post-test. It's like, what did I know before I took the class, and what did I know, or what did I learn after the class? The third thing, which is very important, is how are the people behaving differently? And that's where, the more advanced you go into defining and measuring the training, the more difficult it is. And we need to admit that. Sometimes it's very, it's difficult, and that's something that we stress in our class, and we teach and how to do those things, is behavior. How can you measure the behavior? And you can do that with tests, okay? How do you measure the behavior of an individual after going to a customer service training or a sales training or etc.? So that is very important that we do that. And the fourth thing, which is even a little bit more complicated, but absolutely can be done, is the return on investment, what we call the ROI. It's like I invested $10,000 in sending my whole team to a training, and then what am I getting? One of the things that I always share is that, for example, in the sales environment, it's very easy sometimes to measure, okay? And we need to admit that. You go and you send a sales team to a training, and then you say, I want to improve productivity by 5%. I want to make $60 million more after this training. So it's something that is more tangible, something that you can measure a little bit better. Now, the tricky thing is when you have leadership training, diversity training, and how do you measure that? And my recommendation always is to use a lot of behavior, a lot of surveys, for example. It's like it is worldwide known that you can use value surveys or employee surveys to focus groups to know what's going on in the organization and how are the people engaging in the organization. So those type of things are the things that we need to measure and how we can measure training.
Okay, let's move on to strategic management, because I know this is another important area in the HR industry, and this is something that you felt among other faculty members that it was very important that it was included within the Human Resource Management Certificate program. Now, can you talk a little bit about this new module, the new content, and what exactly strategic management is?
Yeah. And this is what I was saying before. We always look and we always strive here at University of Miami and our team, the faculty, our director, and our program coordinator, to make sure that we do things better and that we continuously improve the program. And the strategic management module, which is going to be the first one in the cycle of our curriculum, is a very good example of that. We took a look at the whole program, and we knew that the strategic management per se was embedded in the other modules. So it was taught, it was shared with the students. But then we saw, based on what is happening in the market, what is happening, what are the trends in HR out there, what are other institutions doing, we saw that there's a critical element of the program. So we saw the strong need to put it as a module per se, one that goes alone and has to be taught alone. And basically strategic management, it should be the first step in the process. And why is that? What is a strategic HR management? HR management, we all know, that is basically the discipline that is basically using the human resources team in an organization in order to achieve objectives. So basically you have a company, you have an organization, you have a group of individuals, which is the human resources team, and those individuals are going to be the one achieving the objectives, working toward those objectives. So human resources, what is it that we do as human resources professionals? We need to make sure that we attract, we develop, and we retain those individuals. So that's basically the strategic HR management. And one element, very, very important right now, is that our role in HR has changed. And that is something that we're going to be stressing, and it's going to be fascinating, and it's going to be a lot of fun participating in this training, very, very hands-on, and really starting the program, understanding what is your role in HR. What is the new role as a business partner? And a lot of us, sometimes I always say that you can go to a search firm, you can go to any of the search engines, and you can see very different names of the ones that you've been used to, like human resources director or human resources manager. Now, right now, you hear things like human capital director, learning director, or chief executive or chief human resources, etc. So the list is long. So basically our point is that the world is changing and the role of HR is changing, and it's very, very important that we understand that we are a business partner and we need to be close to the business leaders and basically helping the organization achieve those business objectives. Because otherwise, how do you explain that role? How do you explain the value added of HR?
Okay, well, Pilar, I would like to thank you so much for sharing a lot of this information about training and development and strategic management and your role within the Human Resource Management Certificate Program at the University of Miami. And if someone that is viewing, this presentation, where can they find out more information about this?
Okay, you can go to www.edmiami.com/HRM. And let me look at my notes here. Is 305-284-6720. Please reach out. Please call us. We're here to help. We're here to guide you on your HR. If you're changing careers, if you are an HR professional right now, we encourage you to call us, to send us a note, and inquire about the program. I can guarantee you that you will be fascinated with what you have to hear, and we can go over the whole roadmap of the program. So once again, you can go to www.edmiami.com/HRM, and the number is 305-284-6720.
Thank you once again, Pilar. Thank you.